Hello, it's irdk, which stands for I really don't know what I'm talking about, or maybe I really do know. Nah, I probably really don't know, but I like talking, and so let's just see where this takes me. Well, a topic that I really wanted to talk about, but I was very scared to talk about because it's a touchy topic, and it's a tough topic is just, it's more sort of along the lines of body image again and just, how young girls compare themselves to celebrities that they see. And also, I might also talk about, restrictive eating in this in this. So just be warned. I've never sort of had that mentality of counting my calories or really trying to just hyper focused or hyper managing my diet or anything like that. But during the lockdown, I sometimes try to exercise, or at least lately I've been doing that, and I've been noticing it does help with my mood. And yeah, as Legally Blonde says, exercise gives you endorphins. So that's great. But yes, a lot of young girls can take it too far. They can be exercising too much or not letting their body have a break after exercising and maybe not eating enough. I mean, honestly, I think everybody has like a sort of is on the spectrum of like, being conscious about what you take into your body, as they should. I mean, everybody is probably conscious of that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, yes, and I know it's easier said than done, but I'm just trying to say that when you see other people's bodies on social media or on wherever you're looking at, magazines maybe. Although, do people read magazines anymore? I'm not sure. Anyway, when you see other people and you compare yourself, obviously that's not healthy. I'm sure that's obvious. But I also want to add that you don't know what they're going through. There are a lot of celebrities, especially in K-pop, which is a very regulated and strict industry. Like, they don't have as many freedoms as I think American artists would. And in South Korean culture, the focus on appearance is very, very prominent. So especially when it comes to K-pop and looking at the bodies that are in K-pop, those are just not what you should be looking at for aspirations or inspiration or anything like that. Because honestly, I don't want to name certain celebrities, but a lot of them are very like undereating and they don't even have like, a good fitness level, I would say. Like, they're not healthy. So it just really pains me when people think that those bodies are healthy or achievable, or that they're fit, or that they are, good or whatever, because they're not. A lot of the time you can't even see that much muscle on them. There's just, I think it's very clear, at least to me, that these are people who have a lot of, issues when it comes to undereating. Yeah, so that's like a really tough topic to tackle, and I know that. So that's why I was scared to talk about this. But I also think it's important to talk about eating disorders because they're really, really, really swept under the rug. Like, so many people have them, like way more than you would think. I have been restrictive with my eating before, and you can see that on my YouTube. I don't characterize it as an eating disorder because I wasn't really in that mindset. But In some of my past YouTube videos from when I was in my second year of college, I was very, very, very restrictive, which, it's even if you don't have the mindset of being like really, really focused on losing fat or whatever, or just really a lot of like negative thought patterns that come with having an eating disorder, even if you don't have that, restrictive eating is still not the best thing. So the reason that I was restrictive in the past is I cut out, wheat, gluten, salt, sugar, and I was basically just eating brown rice and lemon juice for seasoning. I only seasoned all my vegetables with like lemon juice. And that was the first time that I was trying out veganism too. And veganism in itself can be problematic for people because it is a restrictive diet in its core. Obviously, you're, restricting. So, yeah. I'm not saying that like everybody who's vegan has a bad way of thinking about their food or anything like that. But it is restrictive, so that's something to keep in mind. And at that time, the reason I was restricting so much is because I was trying to go to diet as like a last resort for my severe acne. I was trying to cure my severe acne, and I was just trying to eliminate things that I thought might be triggering it. For example, dairy and animal products, and you get the idea. When I was in middle school, I was pretty into the public speaking thing. In my middle school, there was public speaking every year, and then there would be people who get to become, finalists, and then they would perform in front of the entire school in the gymnasium, in front of like all the kids at the school. And then there would be more finalists that are filtered or picked from those finalists, and then they would go on to the district finals. And in my 7th grade, I think it was my 7th grade, my topic was eating disorders. So, my 7th grade self did some research for that speech, of course. The reason I probably picked that topic was because it was something that, interested me, and it was relevant. A lot of girls in middle school are very self-conscious about their weight, which is sad, but it's a reality. And I had friends who would try different ways of trying to make themselves look leaner. And I'll be honest, I was a very skinny kid. Like in some pictures, I just looked emaciated. And to tell you the truth, the reason I looked emaciated is probably because I had a poor diet. I didn't have a healthy body or a body that anybody else should have envied or looked up to, because I was not healthy. I grew up poor. I grew up eating microwave meals and, frozen burritos that you just microwave. And I was not getting nutrition probably from those meals. So even if I ate a lot in a day, I wouldn't get the nutrition, if that makes sense. So then I just looked bony. And that's nothing to admire. I wish that I didn't go through that. I wish that I had a working single mom, so she was busy and I didn't teach myself to cook. I regret not learning how to cook when I was younger. The reason I didn't learn how to cook or teach myself how to cook when I was younger is because, I don't know. I do know. I think it was because it just wasn't really that encouraged of a trait in my household, I guess. Or also, as I got older, I thought it was a patriarchal thing. Cooking for yourself was something that traditionally was a women's role, and I wanted to be ooh, I'm so fancy. I wanted to be fancy and just like eat out and like not have to cook. For some reason I thought that was like fancier or better. But now I know everybody should learn to cook. It's a survival skill. It's essential, whatever gender you are. You should definitely teach yourself to cook because it's important. I had a lot of weird ideas when I was younger about like, traditional roles and like the role of the wife, and like I just had strange thoughts that I don't even know like why I thought that way. I just, didn't have guidance that much, and because there's a language barrier between me and my parents as a child of immigrants, I just, read everything on the internet, and partially I feel like the internet raised me. So, not the most reliable source for wisdom, the internet, I would say. I guess just now that I'm getting a little bit more into working out, I used to hate working out. I would just, I don't like being sore. But I'm trying to improve myself a bit more now and do a little bit of working out sometimes. And so as I'm doing that and I'm watching these workout videos sometimes on YouTube, and sometimes I'm not immune to like any of the comparison and everything that I talked about either. Like I'm not immune, so I know what it feels like to want to look like these models or whoever it is that you aspire to look like. And so I would watch these videos and, take some of their diet tips, like, drinking water with apple cider vinegar, or drinking water with lemon juice, or like drinking green tea in the morning or something. And yeah, it's like fun to try these things, but keep in mind that you need to take everything you hear with a grain of salt. When I was younger, I didn't know that. I thought that everybody just told the truth. But now that I'm older, I'm realizing, yeah, no, celebrities lie a lot. And, even the most well-meaning videos on YouTube about diet or workout tips, they all need to be taken with a grain of salt. I think that's pretty much most of the things that I wanted to say on that topic. I might come back to this topic if I remember something else that I wanted to address. But back to the whole public speaking thing, which I was into when I was in middle school. I also did a speech in grade 8, which I actually went to the district finals for. And it was about paparazzi, funnily enough. Which, I guess it's all sort of intertwined, because paparazzi is related to celebrities, and celebrities is related to the whole body image and comparing yourself and social media stuff. So it's all, I guess, almost like one big topic. I don't know, or maybe it's not. But anyway, I was, made this speech about paparazzi and how damaging and endangering they can be to, especially if it's in traffic. If there's paparazzi following a celebrity in traffic, that's very, very life-threatening. And just reckless driving, obviously, is life-threatening. And I just find it interesting how when I was younger, when I was a middle school student, I was a consumer of, fashion magazines, and I really had this like idolization of celebrities and actors and models. And yeah, we are in a society that treats them as, higher, like we put them on a pedestal in our, modern day society. That is what we do. Back then, even though I was giving that speech on how paparazzi are bad or something, secretly that was still the whole fame idea, and like being successful, so successful that you're notable and famous for being so. That was an attractive vision for me. It was like my escapist fantasy. And I also found it fascinating. I found the world of Hollywood fascinating, and the world of fashion runway models fascinating. And it's weird because that was also the time when I decided to pursue acting, and I decided to become a professional actor when I was in grade 8, or grade 7, grade 8, around that time. So that was, the same time that I started auditioning for TV shows. And now it's been a decade later, more than a decade later. Sometimes when you're still grinding as an actor and going to auditions, etc., sometimes these thoughts just go into my head where I really, really wonder if the art is worth it sometimes. Like, I used to think when I was 13 and just starting as an actor that, if I was, Miley Cyrus or something, then everything would be okay. I don't know why I thought that. But now, obviously, I'm older, and I don't see the, I see a lot of, sure, there's a lot of perks to being famous as well, but I also see a lot of the ugly side now of fame. And the ugly side of it really scares me now. That's the truth. Because of social media and everything, all the technology we have now, there's just way too much information, which is weird because I used to just have the opposite way of thinking. I used to think that we should all just live stream our lives and we should all just give up our privacy. I used to not believe in privacy, and I would just literally say that blatantly. I would be like, I don't believe in privacy. And I still, half of me still kind of thinks that way. Like, the reason I thought about privacy in that way was because I felt like the world would just be so much better of a place if everybody could just voice their thoughts, and we could see everybody's diary, and we could see everybody's life experiences, so that we would know not to make, the mistakes that other people made, and that we would just all be better for it if we all just had the cumulative knowledge of everybody on earth, and we would all just have so many, life experiences and knowledge, and like we would all just absorb each other's knowledge or something if there was no such thing as privacy. So I had this sort of like good intention behind that thought of not valuing privacy. But now I also see how having all this information and too much information is detrimental and well, in some ways it's detrimental if you can't, if you're not ready for it, or if you don't have healthy ways of coping with it, I suppose. Like, I used to think if I was paparazzi'd every day or something, then I would just have an awesome log of all my outfits and all the ideas and outfit ideas that I come up with, and I wouldn't have to take my own lookbook pictures. But there's also very scary, hurtful aspects to the whole fame thing. So as much as I love social media and I love like documenting my everyday, I kind of use social media as like an online diary in a way. But as time is passing, I'm thinking it's kind of not really feasible to use it as an online diary anymore. So I guess the moral of the story is I am a changing person with changing opinions. I still, have some of the same thoughts that I did when I was younger, but they're just more nuanced now. I mean, this might sound stupid, but I always used to vow to myself, like if I ever gained followers, I would just still post the same way that I used to post back when I had only 2 followers. And yeah, that's like a noble thought. I don't know how easy it is to carry that out though, because like imagine someone with 30 million followers just posting the way that they did when they had 2 followers. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that would look a little different. I guess that all depends too on what you used to post and what your genuine self and sense of humor is like. In a perfect world, everybody would accept us for our mistakes and accept us for who we are despite our weirdness. But I'm starting to learn that we don't live in a perfect world, and there are consequences, and you need to be smart. You can't just act like your actions are not going to have consequences. Anyway, so Jennifer Lawrence does not have social media, and I've considered, deleting all my social media. Well, not seriously considered it, but, it's weird because I never thought I would have these thoughts. I've always had very positive thoughts about social media. I've always loved it so much as a way to express myself, as a way to journal, as a way to log my feelings, to log what I do in a day, to log what I eat in a day, to log what I wear, like everything. And just, I thought it was so cool that like one day, it's like a book of my life, that one day if I ever have offspring, they could see like what mom was like or something. I don't know. And I'm just learning that maybe that is how the world is designed, is that everything has a good and a bad side. Everything is a double-edged sword. Everything has a good and bad sides, like social media has a good and a bad side. Privacy has a good and a bad side. I used to demonize the concept of privacy, but now I feel that if you don't feel comfortable sharing something, that's okay at the moment, and maybe you'll change in the future and you'll get some insight about whatever it is in the future, and in the future you'll share about that situation. You don't have to share everything that you're going through in the moment that you're going through it. When I was younger, I was stubborn and pompous about my own ideas. I just thought that if people shared more, then there would be more empathy and understanding. But now I think it's not that black and white. It's a bit more nuanced than that. Share if you feel called to. But yeah, sharing can have bad side effects as well. But in the long run, whether you share or are very private, it probably doesn't really change things too much. I don't know. Being private has its good sides and also its bad sides. I do think that people do bottle things up a lot and they are too private sometimes. When you talk things out, usually you can feel better, but also there's a balance. There's a balance to everything. There's a nuance to everything. And no one person is got it all. No one person has got it all. No one person is perfect. No person is solely good or solely bad. Like I said, everything has a good and a bad to it. That includes people. That includes me. So don't look up to celebrities, because even if they're not maliciously lying to you with, malicious intent. My mom just walked in, so now I have gone to another room. So yeah, even if people are not trying to lie to you, or they're not, they don't have the intention of hurting you, or maybe they believe wholeheartedly what they're saying, but they could still be misguided. So don't take what people say seriously. Don't take what I say seriously. Everyone kind of sees through their own lens, and maybe the things that they say are kind of like, they might not be that insightful, or they might be projecting, or their message to you could even get lost in translation somehow. You might misinterpret it or interpret it to your own liking. And yeah, even if people think they know themselves, they still might not know themselves that well. I used to think, I was smart, or that I knew myself, or I was stubborn with some of my ideas for sure. But as I get older, I'm learning there's lots to unlearn, and that there's lots that I was just maybe not like 100% wrong about it, but I was just half wrong, about a lot of things. It's funny how when you're a teenager, you're so sure of things in a way, yet you're also like, it's like a time of extremes maybe. Like you're sure of stuff, but I don't know what the end of that sentence is. I guess I just know that every day I feel less sure about things. That's probably a good thing, is to not be too attached to any one way of thinking or viewing things. But I know, I mean, it's like a part of acting too, is like being able to see the perspectives of so many different types of people with different walks of life. So what do I want to end this rant, or what is this called? Like I don't know, a recording. What do I want to end this recording on the point of? I'm not sure. I think it's just important to note that bony bodies that you see are not something to aspire to. They are a sign of malnourishment, and I'm not trying to judge whoever these celebrities are, because like you don't want to shame anyone or judge them because you don't know the factors or the reasons that they could be at the weight that they are. Sometimes it's out of their control, but I do believe that eating disorders are a genuine, huge problem for men and women, and just body insecurity in general. It's more of an issue with celebrities than it is with the average person. So whichever celebrity that you admire the appearances of, I guarantee that those celebrities care a lot about their appearance, because that's part of the job. I mean, actors, I would say a good chunk of actors are drawn to acting because they, first of all, one of the criterias of being an actor is you have to be able to not mind that you're on camera. You have to be okay. Number one, very, very, very basic level, you have to be okay with being on camera, which means you need to, in some level, be a little vain, kind of, or at least think that you are, you don't care that you're on camera, if that makes sense. So usually the vanity aspect is there, the selfishness aspect is there. I would imagine a quarter of actors have felt hurt in their life. They've felt like they weren't seen. And what better way to feel seen than to be recorded into a movie, or something that will last forever, or hopefully be a timeless work of art, and to capture your I don't know. I mean, it's you as a character when you're playing a character, but it's still you are the one who's bringing that character to life. So it's like your version of that character. It's still imbued with a lot of you. And it takes a certain type of person to be gravitating towards that as a form of expression. So know that the people that you see who are popular in the media for modeling or acting likely have a lot of struggles with their appearance. So they don't have a perfectly healthy mindset. They don't have a perfect, lifestyle or diet or way of exercise. And honestly, that just doesn't exist. Nobody has that. So it sounds cheesy, I guess, but do your own best to nurture your own body, mind, spirit. Everything is so nuanced, and everything is so not one thing. It's nothing is good or bad, or only good or only bad. It's always a bit of both, and that's God's creation. Thanks for listening to my rambling thoughts. Here are a bunch of, I guess, contradictory messages. Be open, but be careful. Be an ear to listen. Be a contributor, admire the people that you are fans of, but also know that they are faulty. Eat both celery and chocolate chips. Cry and smile. That's this. Wait, what? Okay, I don't know how to end it. I was gonna say, this has been Julie, or that's Julie, or wait, what? I don't know. I've been watching Heart Evangelista, and she sometimes ends her videos with, this has been Heart, which is super cute. Well, this has been Julie. I guess I will adopt that for this video since I don't know what to say now. Yeah. See you next time. 下次见, jujubes.
Oh, I'm back. Whoops. I mean, is it really a YouTube video from Julie if there isn't a false ending? Okay, well, I just wanted to say something else real quick. Social media. Just another little thing about social media. The reason that I'm still able to enjoy social media so much is because, okay, well, I don't know how to put it. Like, I have a very self-centered way of using social media where I literally just, what I do the most is I just spend time scrolling my own profile. If I do scroll, I don't really scroll the news feed or the timeline or whatever to see what other people are tweeting or what other people are posting on their Facebook status because, I don't know, it's just not super interesting to me. Like, I'll look at the news feed for 1 second and then it'll be like, okay, this is pretty boring. And then I'll just look at my own profile, or I don't know, like, I don't always look at my own profile, but sometimes, yeah, I go back and I reanalyze things that I've already posted, but not in, like, a very judgmental way. Like, I don't, like, beat myself up for, like, anything, because there's nothing to beat myself up about, but I don't know, I just don't have a very perfectionistic mindset when it comes to social media, and I don't consume a lot of social media in the first place. Like, my average time that I spend on Instagram is probably like 5 minutes a day or something, because I just go on there to post pictures of what I made, like the food that I made that day or whatever it might be. I just go on there to post it so that I can in the future look back into my Instagram archive, my story archive, and see those things. I just, it's just like a little log, and I love doing that. But I genuinely actually don't scroll on Instagram or like look at people's stuff that much. I don't know if that's a selfish thing or I'm just like disinterested in like looking at other people's posts or something. I don't know. So for me, that's how I've always done social media. That's always how I've navigated it. I don't really nitpick my own content that I have on social media, and I don't really spend that much time on social media. I just go on there to post and then I'm off. I don't know if my way is the right way. I'm just sharing what I do, and I'm someone who can cry very easily. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes it comes easily, sometimes it doesn't, but if I see news of something sad, like a plane crash or an animal being mistreated or something, I will literally like be sad, and I know this from experience. I will spiral and be sad for hours, and I've had that happen too many times where now it's just like I really don't have time for that to happen. Like, I really don't want that to happen. Like, sure, I do want to be empathetic, but I just don't want to spend my time, like hours, on these things. So I just, I'm not like a huge consumer of news. And if people tell me about news, even if it's like secondhand, like people tell me about something, then the same thing will happen. Like, I will just spend hours obsessing over it and crying. So like, it's just not really that good of a use of my time, and I've learned from that. So that's also part of it, I guess. because that's happened way too many times. And even if it's like not some sort of like tragic news or something, even if it's just like a tiny thing where like I notice something, then I will be upset about it for so long. Like maybe I notice some sort of injustice, or I feel hurt by something that somebody said, then I will be just upset. Or even if it's just like in my own personal friendships, or if I feel hurt by something that someone says to me or something that they don't say to me. You know, it could even also be like a non-action. It literally could be just like nothing, and I will still be upset for like so long. So like I've just grown out of that. Like I don't participate, or at least I try to avoid those scenarios now. So for social media, it's like, you know, going to take a poo. You get in, you get out as fast as you can. That's my motto. And I don't have like notifications. Like I don't get notifications that much for some reason. I don't know if it's because I have a BlackBerry. Yes, I do have a BlackBerry, and I don't really get notifications from social media apps telling me to, you know, somebody liked my tweet or whatever. I don't get those notifications. And if I did get those notifications, I would probably be a lot more anxious, because, yeah, that would be... Even if, like, it's people liking your tweet, it still makes me anxious to get notifications. I don't know. I used to... I mean, it does now, but, like, I used to love getting notifications when I was younger. I was like, oh, how many... I loved, like, refreshing, I don't know, the notifications page or something when I was younger, but now it just kind of bothers me. It's like a nuisance. That's, like, another thing that's changed about me, I guess, over time. So, yeah, that's just how I navigate social media, so I'm just sharing that. I don't know if that's insightful at all. I've also seen, you know, my friends, they'll take breaks from social media, or there's, like, no harm in uninstalling Twitter. You don't even have to delete your account. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but I love the memories of my past, so I would probably never delete it unless somehow my account was hacked or deleted, or it got deleted by the big powers that work in Twitter or something. Like, I don't think I would ever delete anything of my own accord. Like, I've never... actually, I have archived some of my YouTube videos that I posted a long time ago. But ever since I made my first YouTube video, like acting tag, I think that's what it was, I haven't deleted anything since that video. Because that was like when I decided it would be like my official start to my YouTube. So yeah, I'm not a big deleter or anything, because I just don't, it's just not my philosophy. Even if there's mistakes, or I had a wrong way of thinking, or I was misguided in the past, it's still a part of the journey, and I wouldn't want to remove anything. And I know it's not that deep, like people deleting things off of their Instagram or archiving things on their Instagram is not that deep, but it's just not something that I choose to do. For me, keeping everything is a way of accepting myself and embracing my journey. Anyway, different people have different ways of looking at social media. I'm sure other people might be more, you know, perfectionistic than me. Maybe they have, like, you know, an Instagram aesthetic, or I don't know, blah, blah, blah. That's all fine, and I'm just sharing what I do and what works for me. Thanks for listening. Feel free to discuss your perspective on any of the topics or things that I mentioned, like restrictive eating, comparison, social media, privacy versus sharing, fame, and living in the public eye versus not living in the public eye. Like, these are all things that, you know, sometimes my thoughts aren't completely formulated, and I'm just spilling them to you, even when they're not fully conclusive. Like, I'm not trying to tout that I have these magnificent conclusions or anything. It's still a question to me. It's still a conflict that I am thinking about. Like, is storytelling and making art and being an actor worth the fame part of it? And why is that a thing? Like, I saw this interview, I think it was Zach Galifianakis on the Off-Camera show, and he said, like, why do actors get interviewed so much? And he was like, I'm a dumb actor. And I really, really saw his point when he said that, because, you know, actors, maybe they got lucky and they got cast in a few movies, but that doesn't mean that somehow now they're these warlocks that know all and they're magical beings that can solve your life and help you to become successful in your own life. And they're now became these gurus that are like just superhuman. And because Julianne Moore, I love her, by the way, but because I'm just pretending, I'm just using examples, okay? Just because Julianne Moore got an Oscar, she's now, you know, a goddess or something. That's not really how it works. I could tell you that, you know, maybe ask the older folks, the elderly, and maybe they would be more wise. But even then, age is a number, I'm finding. Even if someone's very old, that doesn't mean they know more than you. We're all just stupid humans, and that's an uplifting notion. None of us know much about much, and we're all just doing what we can and doing our best and enjoying life. And if it seems like I'm picking on actors, I'm not trying to pick on actors. Actors are just humans. Anyone can be an actor, like literally. Like, I don't really believe that much in like the concept of talent. Everyone is artistic. Everyone can hone certain skills, like improve their singing vocals or improve their acting skills through practice. So yeah, I believe in, I guess, practice. And of course there are people who are naturally maybe more really, really gifted when it comes to songwriting, really, really gifted when it comes to, I don't know, swimming. But yeah, I'm just saying in general, everyone can do everything if they practice. This is getting pretty long. If you are on social media a lot, just don't follow people who impact you. For example, I know that I have a lot of insecurities, and so therefore I actively try to not follow people on Instagram who I know are also insecure about things. Like, I just try, I don't know, like, I don't know if that makes sense, but I try to not follow people who are always, you know, getting Botox or lip injections or blah, 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 because it's just not, it's like a slippery slope. I just don't want to see people who have these lip injected lips and then for some reason think that I need to have that, because I don't. I don't know if it's even the lips. It's just the lip injected lips thing is something that I can really notice in someone's face. So it's just something that I can't ignore. So I just try not to follow people who have that. And then, I mean, maybe I still do follow some people who have that. I don't know. It's not a perfect, method here. But I just try not to follow people who have very noticeable modifications because, I don't know, it just gets me in a weird place. So yes, I try to follow mostly people who are naturally have fat in places and are just more natural. And that's because I know myself and I know that I've had thoughts in the past about getting... It's not even like getting into a state of comparison necessarily. It's just like monkey see, monkey do. And that's like such a huge thing that I think people don't really take at face value enough. When I see and it's not like I think that I need, it's not like I think I need lip injections, because I've never thought that, because I have naturally pretty big lips. And I actually, when I was younger, I used to hate how big my lips were, and I would just smile with my lip tucked into my mouth, if that makes sense. So I would just make my lips look as small as possible, because back then big lips were not in fashion or whatever. It was like smaller lips. Back then I thought smaller lips looked good, so I would always actively try to make my lips look smaller. Fun fact, I literally used to always do that so much. Like whenever I smiled, I would just tuck my lip into my mouth to make it look small. I just thought like huge big lips looked bad. That's how I used to think. I don't think that anymore, because the styles have changed. But it's just weird how the styles change so much. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so like I don't feel like I need lip injections, because my lips are plenty big in my opinion. But it's just like the whole monkey see monkey do, because like when you see a girl who so obviously has lip injections, and then like along with everything else in the photo, like the photo might be photoshopped or filtered, or she might be wearing like really good makeup and it's all like very clean looking. She looks, I guess, snatched is the word people are using now. She looks snatched in the photo. It just makes me, it's like a promotion for the way she looks. And when I know that in the back of my head that her lips were injected, I think that like it's like this trend, and that like, oh, what if I'm missing out if I'm not following that trend? I don't know, because I don't even want to follow that trend, but it's just like this weird monkey see monkey do effect, where when you see people enjoying something, it's like, oh, but maybe I should enjoy that too. I don't know, but I don't even want to. So yeah, it doesn't really make sense, but that's why I don't follow people who have lip injections. So yeah, social media can be fun to an extent, but be careful what you visually feed yourself as much as what you physically feed yourself. Like all of these are important for mental health and for physical health. Okay, I will end this now. Take care. Thanks for listening.